Hello again, this is David Smith at the Develop Conference in Brighton, and I'm pleased to have with me Ben Board, the European Developer Account Manager for Microsoft. Ben, please, can you tell us a bit about yourself and the game side of Microsoft?
Certainly. So I am, as you say, a European Developer Account Manager for Xbox, working at Microsoft. I have this means I work closely with European developers and publishers to get the most out of their Xbox games. My own background is as a games programmer and a producer. And I've been in the industry since '97 and worked at a few places like Bullfrog and EA and Lionhead. And so these days Microsoft has a number of functions in Europe, all based in the UK. In our Reading office, we have the platform side of the business, including the third-party publishing organisation, which is what I work for. So our job is to liaise with third-party publishers to make the most out of their games, both in terms of technology and in terms of the commercial opportunities that Xbox offers. And I work on the technical development side, so I'm fielding questions from developers who want to know how to get the best out of their games on our platform. Also in Reading, we have the more marketing and advertising functions of the platform, and some of the platform leadership, the European platform leadership. We also, as well as having the UK retail subsidiary, we have the European branch of MGS, Microsoft Game Studios, is also based in Reading. MGS is the side of Microsoft that publishes our first-party video games, including Fable and the games that Rare are working on. And those studios themselves are also based in the UK. So Rare is based in the Midlands and with Lionhead based in Guildford. In addition to that, we have an office in London that works on it's called the Live team, and they work on some of our online features for Xbox, including recently the Sky TV player, which appears on the Xbox dashboard, as well as the 1 to 100 1 vs 100 game show, and a whole bunch of other things. So, yep.
Very good. So, I mean, tell us a little bit about the publisher-owned studios and the independent developers that you work with, and the game titles that you've been involved with.
Sure. So as a developer account manager, well, the development account management team currently numbers 3 people, and between us we cover the European development for publishers and independent developers. So publisher development and independent developers. So personally, I work closely with publishers, including, there's a long list, but it includes Ubisoft, Codemasters, Square Enix, Activision, Capcom, others. I also work closely with the Microsoft Game Studios, who we sort of treat as a third-party publisher in some ways. Other guys on the team deal with EA and Sega and Disney and so on and so on. So at the same time, so on the one hand, we deal closely with the publisher's own internal development, which is pretty good, pretty interesting. I also happen to deal with a lot of independent developers, non-publisher owned developers. I work with Blitz and Rocksteady and Rebellion and many. I mean, my list is I have like 60 or 70 of the studios on my list.
Very good. You can't mention them. You can't mention them all, I'm sure. But
oh no, if I could remember them all, I'd mention them all. But you don't want me to list them.
No. I mean, I think obviously Microsoft are ubiquitous, if I can put it like that, within the games sector. So it wouldn't be fair to try and list everybody. But Microsoft is one of the biggest corporations in the world. Why in your view is it a great place to work?
I think working for Microsoft Games is something that I've wanted to do since working on the other side of that relationship. I worked at Lionhead for a few years, and I was one of the leads on the first Fable game, and had very interesting experience and very really fun thing to do. One of the things that I learned most, one of the things that featured most heavily on that game was at one point Microsoft became more interested in that development, and they decided that they wanted to help us make it into a fantastic game. At that point, they utilised a lot of this platform-based support network that they had, and they really gave us a lot of help, and they really showed us what it meant to try and get the most out of a game that they cared about. And and since then, I realised, well, at that point, I realised that Microsoft were very, very serious about the business of making excellent games and making great games into truly great games. And from then on, I thought working for Microsoft is something I would very much like to do. And it's a privilege to actually now be in a position to be on the other side of that line and doing exactly that for a bunch of superb games.
Very good. And finally, Ben, what advice would you give a job seeker looking to apply for a job with part of the Microsoft Games setup? Well,
it's such a huge operation. There's such a varied operation in Europe that for a start, I'd certainly recommend it. There are so many different roles. It very much depends on what sort of thing you're looking for. My own experience is, as I say, as a programmer and a producer, and a relatively long experience in game development. That's something which certainly has helped me get this job. If you want to work for example, in the live team in London, then they're interested in people with online coding and production experience, and even in other forms of media. If you want to work in MGS or either on the publishing side, that's a fairly straight publishing job, or one of the MGS studios like Lionhead or Rare. They're interested very much in video game, in the usual video game development roles, and artists and programmers and producers and QA and so on. And there's a huge range of options, a huge range of jobs available, and you should definitely get in contact with us if you have a desire to work for a big company like Microsoft and a great product like Xbox.
Great. Ben Board, European Developer Account Manager for Microsoft. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.